Greenland, the world's largest island, is predominantly covered by glaciers. Its value and its global recognition have surged recently, largely due to President Trump's renewed interest in acquiring it. Today, we'll explore in detail the reasons behind his intent to purchase Greenland. Joining us in the studio is an expert in international politics, Professor Chung-shik from Chung-Ang University. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, actually, it seems that President Trump seems to be very eager to acquire Greenland. He even sent his son, Trump Jr., to visit there, right? So why is he so fixated on Greenland?
Well, I would like to begin with some kind of bottom line, how the team, Trump or the United States, think about the territory. So I think they believe that simply, of course it's true geopolitically, is that is part of the North America, not Europe. Yep. And then they also believe that we are currently defending the territory from any possible threat of China or Russia, not Denmark. So for them, it's probably very obvious, like to take the territory back to the part of the North America. But on top of them, as we know, there are a number of like benefit, or there are it has a natural resources, and we can think about a lot of like economic benefit or profit. But at the same time, we can think of like a some kind of very valuable future trade route. So as you know, because of like this climate change, the Arctic is warming up, so opening a new possibility of developing new trade route. So this so-called Arctic route would be the shortest path from Europe to North America. And then, so by using this, take advantage of this new future trade route. So they can save time, they can save money, and there also can be some kind of fantastic alternatives to the traditional naval choke points, such as a Suez Canal or Panama Canal. Right. So for the United States, this is going to be a very important future asset for national security. So they do not want to get dominated by its rivals such as Russia or China. So I think that is the one of reason they are really talk about the Greenland at this moment. Okay.
Yes, certainly economic reason is the key factor that is driving the U.S. government to consider this. But President Trump also mentioned the significance of acquiring Greenland based on national security. So military aspect is also important for us to understand. What are the military significance of Greenland?
Let me put it this way. It's very simple to imagine. So if Russia launches ballistic missile to the mainland U.S., that will go through Greenland and North Pole. Yes. So because of that, actually the U.S. has some kind of military agreement with Denmark, and they station each military base there. So there's like now it's a called like Pacific space base. It does a job of missile warning and the surveillance of like space and other jobs as well. And another strategic or military importance of the region can be thought of in terms of its location. So, for example, located in so-called like GI-UK gap, which is naval choke point for the Russian fleet. So, if Northern fleet want to get access to Atlantic Ocean, they have to go through this gap. So. For the United States, right, if they want to monitor all the movement of submarines and other fleet, they definitely want to secure that point as well.
As you mentioned, China and Russia are trying to expand their influence in the Arctic region. So what specific actions are there that these are due attention?
Well, they have increased their military presence, and they also their interest or influence in that region as well. So, for example, Russia has been a key player in the Arctic region for a long time. So Russia has a Arctic coastline. It's more than 24,000 kilometers of coastline in Arctic region, and it has a military base, and for a long time it has increased its military presence in the region. So it reopened, for example, old Soviet bases, military bases, and it also like constructed new infrastructure, military infrastructures as well. It also has upgraded submarines and fleet, something like that. To be honest, Russia surpasses the United States in terms of Arctic operational capability. So Russia, for example, have about 50 icebreakers, which is necessary for the operations in Arctic region. The U.S. had only two.
Two.
Two, and the one is, if I know correctly, the one of two is broken. So 1.5 maybe.
Just one. Yes.
Yeah. So that's why that's how we can see that how much Russia is powerful in Arctic region. And China is also interesting because China launches like called Polar Silk Road in 2017, and it also in its white paper it declared itself as a near Arctic country in 2018, I guess. So since then, China has increased its presence in Arctic region, and it also increased like all the development research programs in the region, and they tried to buy a number of, for example, like asset and made some kind of investment bid in Greenland as well. So recently, what the United States really worried about is they have strengthened their cooperation between two countries. As we know, since the war in Ukraine, Russia is pretty much isolated from within the Arctic Council, okay, which is a cooperative body of 8 Arctic-related countries. Right. And then, given this isolation, Russia definitely needs some kind of new partner. Here, China comes in. So, the cooperation between two countries has been strengthened over time. And recently, for example, they launched some kind of like official shipping corridor between two countries. So we see that two countries increase their cooperation, and definitely that goes against the interest of the U.S.
You certainly explained to us about the geopolitical significance of the location, right? But because of that, many are worried that the U.S. may think about using coercive measures to acquire Greenland. So what are the reactions from Denmark?
Well, Danish government definitely says that no, you can't, basically.
Of course.
Right? Yeah, and they said, it says that the Prime Minister, for example, Frederiksen, says that the future of the Greenland should be decided by Greenlanders. And the government decided to increase its military spending to the Arctic region by $2 billion. It's not really big money, to be honest, but still, they show some kind of reaction to the American demand of the territory. So Danish government shows that kind of like stance, and the other European countries also do not like the idea of annexing Greenland under the control of the U.S. For example, Germany and France made it clear that they oppose the idea. And to be honest, because like Denmark is the member of NATO, right? So NATO has Article 5, which is called the collective defense mechanism, right? So if one of the members are attacked, they have they can invoke the Article 5 so that they can retaliate together. But of course, in order to invoke the Article 5, they need a unanimous approval of all the members, and definitely the U.S. is one of them. So that option is not available. So I think probably for European countries or other countries, viable option would be sending EU troops or NATO troops more to the Greenland or Arctic region so that they can address the concerns of U.S., the national security concern.
Yeah, certainly the key stakeholder is also Greenland, right? So how do Greenlanders think about this move? Well, certainly the Greenland has some kind of authority in deciding foreign affairs and defense issues. So how do you see their reaction?
Well, like the prime minister actually says clearly, this is not for sale, right? They have their autonomous government, so autonomous government, and they made it clear that we are not for sale. For Greenlanders, probably the most important issue would be the getting independent. They are under the control of Denmark for a long time, and they're preparing for the independent, and they are preparing for national elections soon in March. So after this President Trump's remark, they passed a number of bills. For example, they banned some kind of anonymous or political funding. Okay, so they banned that, and they also passed a bill which restrict the purchase of land to either Danish citizen, or permanent resident of Greenland, and it's 2 years. So, they have only 57,000 people. Its population is small, so they probably know that their election can be affected heavily by external force or external influence. So probably that's why they wanted to pass those bills as a reaction to Donald Trump, President Trump, the remark. And at the same time, I think the local sentiment is not good against U.S. as well. So they have recently, a survey poll result says that about 85% people in Greenland oppose the idea of being part of the U.S.
So if President Trump's idea falls through because of all this resistance, then what kind of alternatives that Trump might have in mind?
Okay. Well, Trump would not be able to use force. Of course, he can threaten. I don't think it's gonna happen in reality. Alternatively, the U.S. can think of the at this moment, before Greenland get independent, they may push the Danish government. So, what Trump really good at is using tariffs and other economics leverage, right, to get what he really wants. So, the government, the U.S. government may want to use tariffs as a leverage tool to put some pressure on the Danish government. But the more important story can be expected once the Greenland get independent. So, possible option I think would be some kind of cases of the compact free association between the U.S. and 3 countries such as Micronesia or Marshall Island and Palau. The relationship between the U.S. and these 3 countries are very similar to the Denmark and Greenland, other than those 3 countries are sovereign state, independent countries. So the U.S. provide them military defense and also give them some kind of grant funding and social services, but still they are sovereign independent countries. So U.S. may consider the similar deal with Greenland if Greenland get independent later.
Yeah, right. Actually, Trump's expansionist idea expands to Gaza and Panama, and he's talking about everything, right, these days. So do you truly believe that Greenland is just one of the negotiation cards to gain something out of it?
Well, tough question, and but it's a very important question. So I think there's a number of possibilities. First, so it can be just typical power politics. Okay, so everybody think about that Trump would be different from previous president of the United States. So this can be something showing that we can do anything for the sake of national security. We have power. In the past, we did not, but now we don't need to follow those norms and norms based on reciprocity or so kind of like negotiation, multilateral institutions, something like that. So this can be just show that America's vision, make America great again, right? So we can do anything if we want. And second, at the same time, it can be a kind of like strategy that Trump used to use. So flood the zone, for example. So where he flooded all the different issues to public conversations so that they can like distract the opponent. And so for example, like Trump issued like 53 executive orders in 2 weeks, which is huge number, right? So a lot of people like confused about whether he's really serious about all the deals or if there's some specific issues he really wanted to focus on, okay? Because those issues, for example, like include a number of very sensitive topics such as suspension of foreign aid or the bill to end birthright citizenship, something like that, which is truly unconstitutional, right? So we need probably more signal to figure out whether what the Trump true intention is. And finally, I can think of some possibility that this is really personal things of Trump's personal preferences. So we know that he's very sensitive to economic losses, okay? So maybe his personal interest or preference about economic loss. For example, when it comes to talking about the Panama Canal, he said that they means like Panama authorities like charges extremely unfair fees to U.S. cargo, U.S. ships, but actually it's not true, right? I mean, they charge the same fees to all the ships in the world. But I mean, Trump may believe that they get rid. And then they probably want to push pressure on the canal authority to reduce fees for the U.S. in the future. So, okay.
So my last question is there any specific interest or gains that he expects to have from Denmark to serve his own purpose?
From Denmark?
Yes.
Well, from Denmark. Well, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to explore like his strategy, okay. So we may want to like focus on like his negotiation strategy or negotiation style. So Trump tends to, I think like he believes himself as some kind of like born to be a negotiator. So I'm really good at negotiating, and usually his strategy is something like that. He, demands something unacceptable, and try to start from there, right? So as a first mover, is kind of straight up agenda setting. So he put some agenda under extremely unacceptable position, and make all the discussion or debate starting from there. So he tends to take a upper position in negotiation and everything. So, I mean, he may want to get, again, the national interest of the U.S., but at the same time, I think we cannot rule out the possibility that he may want to get some kind of personal interest or economic gains from, like future development or anything in Greenland as well.
Yeah, right. So from make America great again to make Greenland great again, will that resonate? I think time will tell because the world is watching.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much for your comprehensive analysis. It's a very fascinating discussion.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. It was a great time.